Hi everyone, and welcome to our channel. This is video number 4 in our ongoing series of how to pass your state board licensing exam, barbering, cosmetology, esthetician, or nail technician. For those of you coming back, we value and appreciate your support so much, and your comments are very helpful in designing these videos. I would suggest going back and looking at videos 1, 2, and 3. They're all short. You can do it in less than half an hour. This video today will focus primarily on things that interest to the estheticians. Historically, about 50% of the students taking their test any given day in any state were cosmetologists. Since the beginning of the coronavirus lockdown, that seems to have shifted. Now about 50% of the students nationwide on any given day are taking their esthetician exam, which is what we decided to shift our focus from cosmetology first to put esthetician first, simply because statistics tell us that's what the majority of our students are studying for. So we're going to begin this video on things of interest to the estheticians. Because we live in a very large country with 50 states and a number of overseas territories, licensing can be very different from state to state. The requirements, the hours, the money you can expect to make. Okay? Some states, like Alabama, currently have 1,000 hours required for an esthetician license. Texas has 750. Most states are around 600, but quite a few states are at 300. And one state, Florida, is as low as 260. That's a pretty big difference from 260 on one end to 1,000 on the other end. Right? Same thing is true of what you can expect to make as far as your income. Now, according to the Internal Revenue Service, and I think those people probably know what they're talking about, according to the IRS, the best state for an esthetician to work in to make money is Arizona, clocking in at about $50,000 a year. Of course, that doesn't even show all the cash tips, but that's a different topic. Okay. The worst state, according to the IRS, for an esthetician in terms of money is West Virginia at about $30,000 a year. Now, for the math challenged like me, $50,000 a year is $1,000 a week. $30,000 a year is about $600 a week. There's quite a spread between 600 and 1,000. Big spread between the hours of 260 and 1,000. Big spread in the money of 30,000 versus 50,000. As I said before, this doesn't really include tips. I have noticed one thing, which somebody also pointed out to me in a comment. There doesn't seem to be very much connection between how long you have to go to school and how much money you're going to make. Again, I use Florida as my example. It's the lowest hourly requirement in the country at 260 hours, and it's the second highest state in terms of projected income at $48,000. So yes, there is zero connection between how long you go to school and how much money you can expect to make. I've also received lots of comments asking what school is better for me to go to. I don't really have an opinion on this topic. First of all, I don't know all the schools in the country. What I do know is that picking an expensive, high name recognition school doesn't guarantee passing the test any more than picking a less expensive, less recognized school guarantees failing on the test. I have seen in my 35 plus years in this industry very little connection between the school you go to and whether you pass the test. Where I do see a big connection is between the teacher you have and whether you pass your test. So if I had to focus on something, I'd focus on the teacher and the amount of time you spend studying. Now the textbooks are large and they contain enormous amounts of information. I don't have a favorite textbook. There's the Milady textbook, there's the Salon Fundamentals textbook. Much of the information is the same, but a lot of it is also different. Here's the takeaway from all this. Most of the information in those books will never be on your exam. For the simple reason, if everything in those books were on your exam, the exam would have thousands of questions and go on for days. The examiners have had to pick out the important points from those books. And here comes the big question. What you think is important to study may not be what they think is important to study. You can spend an awful lot of time studying and still fail your test. You can spend much less time studying and pass your test if you study the right things. And this is where we come in. We have our book, This one happens to be in Spanish. Again, I use it all the time to make a simple point. We have the books in Spanish and in English: Barbering, Cosmetology, Esthetician, and Nail Technology. This book for the estheticians has 12 practice exams. Each practice exam has 100 questions, and it gives you the answer choices, and then it gives you the correct answer. Some of the questions are repeated in every one of the 12 tests because we know certain questions will show up on everyone's exam. Things like sanitation, disinfection, sterilization. There's no way you're not having these questions on your test. There is no way you're not having the questions about complementary colors. One of their favorite questions right now runs something like this. You're working in the Four Seasons Hotel in Hawaii. You're doing bridal makeup with your esthetician license. You're charging $300 a piece, so it's a very profitable day for you. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. There's a young lady in your chair crying because her face has a bright red sunburn. She's getting married in 2 hours and she doesn't want her face sunburned. The question is, what color foundation can you put to cover this red sunburn? You can't do much about the pain she's in or the possible skin cancer she'll develop later in life. Today, the problem is, how do you camouflage her red face? And you do it with a green-based foundation. Now, that little jar of green may look very odd to you, but green is the complementary color of red. Your book tells you that. Virtually everyone walking into the esthetician exam has memorized that sentence. The complementary color of red is green, which will never be asked on the test in that way. It will be asked in the way I just gave you. A sunburned bride is crying in your chair because she doesn't want her face red in her wedding photos. What color foundation can you put to cancel or neutralize? Because that's what complementary colors do. They cancel or neutralize each other. And the answer is green. Here's another question. The bride's mother has recently recovered from a serious illness. Maybe COVID-19, maybe something else. All we know is it was serious, and thank God she lived through it. But she now has a very sallow complexion. Sallow being a very fancy word for yellow. The woman was sick for a long time. She doesn't want to look sick in her daughter's wedding pictures. What color foundation can you put to camouflage or cancel or neutralize her yellow complexion? In other words, what is the complementary color of yellow? And the answer is, of course, violet. This is how they will show up on your test. Keep in mind, the state board examiners cannot make up new facts. All they can do is think of new ways to ask the old facts. And don't kid yourself, they're very good at this. This is their job, they're paid very well, and they do their job extremely well. What you need to do is recognize the question they're actually asking you. Now, moving right along, you'll need to know in complementary colors that they cancel or neutralize each other. There are at least 6 questions currently on the esthetician exam dealing with this topic. I'm going to try to wrap this up right now because I'm running out of time. I could spend days and days and days on this topic. It's one of my favorite. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to simply say, if you like what you saw today, please subscribe to our channel. Hit the comments section. It helps us to know what things we need to speak about going forward. Hit the like button. Be sure to hit the notifications button so you'll be notified of new videos coming up. There are, I understand, in the pipeline 2 more videos specifically on esthetician questions, and then they'll move on to other topics. Please visit our website. It's listed down below. It's www.cosmetologystateboardexam.com. Hope you enjoyed this video and learned something out of it. I'm going to sign off and wish you both all a blessed day.